Hello and welcome to Patch. I'm your host, Paul James. Today in our final episode for 2023, hence Matto's hat. I'm joined by Matto Phillips. How's things, mate?
Ho, ho, ho.
Feeling the spirit today. You've started doing some Christmas celebrations early at home.
It is the year of absolute stupidity for the next 2 weeks.
I mean, the whole year's been stupid, right? The number of people cursing 2023.
Yeah, well, it's about to get more stupider, if that makes any sense.
I mean, who knows what's going to happen? Things could really go off the
6 days away from Christmas.
And so that's a bright spot, and people are knocking off work for the year pretty soon. I know I'm 3 work days away at this point, as of the time we record. 1 day by the time this episode goes to air, and even that day is basically kind of nursing a hangover for the most part. So anyway, let's get into this episode where I think maybe we flagged it last week. We were going to do like an updates to kind of finish the year up, but we've both kind of realised it probably doesn't quite fit. Matto's not got that many games to play that he's played. I've got a couple, but not enough really to justify a full episode. So we'll
probably, to be honest, we probably played the same games as well.
Go on,
one key one.
Rattle off the names.
God of War.
You jumped into the DLC for Ragnarok.
I've jumped into the DLC and Spider-Man 2. They're the only two.
Okay. That's fair.
That's really it.
My list is a bit longer than that, but yeah, I'll just fold it into January. All right, so what we are actually doing, though, is considering the horrific state that is the Embracer group right now. Closures left, right, and centre. Sacking people all over the place. We heard, what studio got closed this week? 3D Realms got a whole bunch of staff kind of
I know the ones that did Time Splitters. That's all I know.
Yes, yeah, Free Radical. That's right. Thank you. Free Radical got closed. 3D Realms had a whole bunch of staff kind of kicked. I don't think they were quite closed, but they're not far off either. The way things are shaping up, it's becoming a bit of a shit show over there at the moment. And so we thought, well, the way things are going, it's going to end in a THQ style fire sale, which is ironic considering this all started with kind of the rebuilding of THQ. So we're going to run another fire sale, and they've got too many studios over there at Embracer Group because they've bought 500 of them. So we're going to focus on, I think it was 10. I think I built a list of 10 in the end, 10 in particular. Yep, 10. And we're going to find homes for each of them. Homes where they're going to be loved, cherished, supported, and not burnt to the ground like what we're seeing with the Embracer Group right now. So, Matto, the first studio on our list here is Gunfire Games. Now, for anyone who's unaware, and I'll try and give a little bit of background for each of the studios, Gunfire Games is actually a whole bunch of people used to do Darksiders back in the day. They made Darksiders 3, but their most recent stuff has been Remnant from the Ashes, and this year's Remnant 2, which is absolutely one of the best games of the year if you speak to anyone who's played it. So, who's going to come for a team like... which publisher's going to come for a team like that?
Well,
and we did joke beforehand. Tencent would come for all of them, so Tencent is getting none of them in our little thing here.
No, that is the only mention of Tencent that you'll hear in this entire episode.
Otherwise, fuck them.
Because otherwise we might get cut off without even knowing.
Yeah.
But with Gunfire Games, I thought, go and buy their last few games. Everyone says their games are very Souls-like games. So, my choice...
Bandai Namco.
Or From Software.
Oh yeah, just From Software just pulls them under the umbrella. That's fair.
Like, hey, can you do a Dark Souls with guns? And they'll go, sure. We've already done it. But we can do another one with guns.
I mean, it kind of makes sense. I would have thought like Bandai Namco as the mob who basically publishes all of FromSoft's games, but that's not who I actually picked in the end. But I could totally see FromSoft going, well, we could just add to our team. I mean, they're kind of they become very international at that point. Maybe that's not their thing, but I could see it working. It certainly makes sense. For me, I picked Ubisoft because Ubisoft would look at that and go, okay, like that's the 8.5, 9 sort of level game that we tend to exist in, but they're also doing something a little bit different to what we do. We don't have a soul. I mean, they don't have any Souls-like games, so that kind of addresses a need there as well. And it'd be a nice change of pace to the Ubisoft formula. So I thought they'd look and go, yeah, we could probably do with a team like that. And they're happy to kind of embrace teams from all around the globe. So, it doesn't seem like there's any logistical challenges for them at all. So I thought Gunfire Games would be good there. Next up is Deep Silver, which kind of is one of the actual arms of embrace the group as things stand. That did have Volition in it, but of course Volition got killed earlier this year.
Dead.
The Saints Row team. So they don't have a lot left, but there's like Dam Buster and Fish Labs that are kind of some of the teams there, which have done some pretty cool things over recent years. It's just, I mean, like Dead Island 2, for example, came from Dam Buster this year. That was like very successful. Sold pretty well as well. And then our favourite, Chorves, came from Fish Labs, as well as a whole range of other games. They've done some Saints Row work, so maybe that's an opportunity for Saints Row to kind of
Metro as well.
Maybe Port stuff, but no, they're who does Metro?
I can't remember.
Oh shit. Yeah, it wasn't Fish Labs, but they might have done some porting stuff. Metro First Light will do. That's the first game I'm thinking of. It's Last Light. First Light is the infamous DLC. Metro was 4A games.
Oh,
but actually, yeah, was published by Deep Silver, but I don't think they're owned by Deep Silver. I think they're like an independent studio.
Oh, right, I see.
Parent Saber Interactive. Actually, no, we would have missed them. So yeah, 4A's. Anyway, maybe we'll bundle 4A in here, so we can add Metro into that list for the sake of this. Okay. Anyway, where do you think, or who do you think might go for a little group of teams like that?
Well, I had two in sight. One's probably unlikely, but the other one is a possibility. I put EA.
Oh yeah.
Because Dead Island, they used to have a game called Left 4 Dead, which we haven't seen in a long time. Isn't it? Oh, I missed that up. I swear they did something that was zombie related. But the one thing the one thing they're really missing, EA, is a good shooter, because we haven't seen a shooter. Well, there is Battlefield, but no one even talks about Battlefield anymore because that is an absolute mess. And we haven't seen Medal of Honor in a while, except for a silly VR game. And he's still thinking, what else? But
just trying to check, because like even as I started to search for for EA zombie games, Left 4 Dead 2 came up, so maybe they like published it in one part of the world or something like that. I don't know. Oh, they were like a distributor. They were a distributor, but not actually.
Ah, right.
That's all but yeah, I mean, all that kind of logic checks out. So I could see that working.
And then the other I thought was Take Two, but then I realised Saints Row's in that bundle. And they've already, are they? Because I was thinking Saints Row and Grand Theft Auto. I was like, they've already got this other game, big gangster game called, well, not really a gangster game, criminal steal cars, called Grand Theft Auto. So they probably don't need Saints Row, but let's be honest, Saints Row's dead anyway.
It's their way to make sure it stays dead. Like you can just sit on the Rockstar back burner and not get touched.
It's in the Rockstar abyss for eternity to never be seen again. And you know what? Fair enough.
Which, look, I mean, I kind of looked at it through the lens. I mean, there's that perspective, and I did kind of consider that one. I also consider the possibility, because you've got Private Division that's part of Deep Silver these days, and they could kind of take like a small wannabe GTA and throw some stuff at and actually make it into something that's definitely that change of pace and not GTA, but is the not GTA game for when there's not GTA. So of course they wouldn't put one out anytime soon, considering we've got one aiming for 2025 at the moment. But certainly beyond that, there's opportunity there. So I went Take Two, but yeah, I totally get the EA one. Next up is Flying Wild Hog. So they're beers. I mean, they've done a whole bunch of cool stuff over the years. Shadow Warrior, there's 3 of those. They even did Evil West from last year. Actually, they did both Evil West and Shadow Warrior 3 last year. They were a pretty busy team back in 2023. But yeah, they're one of the teams at the moment. Lots of FPSs for the most part. Where should they go?
Well, for some reason, I couldn't think of anywhere to put them, so I just thought, you know what? Maybe Nintendo needs some more variety of games instead of, the children's games, and just have a lovely shooter, because they don't really have any shooters, unless it's Doom, which is a ported thing anyway that looks rubbish. So maybe they can do a less stylized shooter, or Microsoft Studios.
Oh yeah, pull it into the Xbox brand. I mean, it
'Cause-
would make sense. They do love a shooter over there.
yes.
Shooters and open world RPGs, Western RPGs. That's their shtick. I think more on that to come
Yeah, so shooters, RPGs, and disasters. That's their three main
though. Checks out.
style of games.
And a lot of that's kind of encompassed by Flying Wild Hog. For me, I went with EA though. They obviously love themselves a first-person shooter, and it would be that sort of thing again to kind of change up the pace a little bit. You've got your really gritty stuff in like Battlefield. If they're ever allowed to do a Battlefront game ever again, you've got that. But again, it's still really serious, even though it's in the Star Wars license. And then you've got this thing that's kind of just it would fit the EA Originals sort of thing as well. There's something that's just kind of off the wall. It's fun. They can throw their support behind it. It wouldn't be an EA original because based on this, they would own them. But I think that could be a lot of fun for them. Next team is Tarsier Studios, who are the team responsible for Little Nightmares. I actually don't know if there's anything else that they do.
Little Nightmares.
They've assisted with some stuff. They've helped with some Little Big Planet DLC over the years. Whatever the stretches is. Oh, that was that. Like you're a paramedic and you're carrying people around.
Oh, the stretcher one, yes.
Yeah, that's right. I forgot about that. In a very overcooked style way. But anyway, yeah, Little Nightmares is kind of their main thing. They're working on. I think they're helping to assist with a third game at the moment. But where should they go?
I'd just put the people that publish their games, which is Bandai Namco.
Yeah, that was my choice for the same reason. I think they were
Because
pretty
that's
easy.
pretty much in their description. It's like, it's distributed by Bandai Namco. I'm thinking, well, if they've got that sort of gaming relationship, it'd be silly not to just go with. Or if Bandai Namco want them. And I'm guessing, of course they will, if they're making another Little Nightmares game.
There is a third one. I'm thinking like Supergiant might have a little bit to do with it as well, which is Supermassive, which is the team that does like Until Dawn and all those sorts of things. I think they've got a little bit to do with it as well, but that's a Bandai Namco team too. So, they're in like a giant 8-game partnership with Bandai Namco. It's a weird situation, that one. But yeah, Tarsier seemed pretty obvious for the same reasons you're talking about. So we'll jump on to another team then, which is the freshly culled 3D Realms. So the stewards of Duke Nukem, in particular.
Wow.
Who needs to take the Duke?
Well, my thought was...
Or who will take the Duke?
Or who might. I just thought a shooter, that got killed off. I thought if Bethesda or id Software
there you go.
took those staff and actually made a Duke Nukem game, pretty much just like Doom, but not serious, it could almost be good.
Yeah, I think that's the right team to save them. So yeah, I put Xbox so that they'd be under all that umbrella, and Xbox would own the IP, and then they can send it over to Bethesda and do whatever. And then id and do whatever they want. So yeah, we're clearly on the same page there. Xbox will actually feature, I think, a few times before the end here, at least in terms of some of my picks. So we'll keep it going. Aspire, which is the team that was maybe still is. No one's really quite sure. Working on the KOTOR remake.
No one knows. No one knows. 1 week it's dead. The other week it's like, oh no, we're still making it. Then next week it's like, oh no, it's not getting made anymore.
Next week they'll announce it's dead, just like The Last of Us multiplayer.
Oh well.
Sorry, Buddy Watson, who's watching. I'm sure still.
It's only been
still
5
crying.
years, and yet 5 years of development just to be told, oh hey, sorry guys, it's not.
The number
coming.
of fuck PlayStations, fuck Sony's, fuck this, fuck that came from Buddy in a chat the other day was he's pretty brokenhearted. We love you, Buddy.
It's okay. Next year you can pay $10 for the remaster, and guess what?
I am playing it already. I'm allowed to
do
that. I am playing it already.
No multiplayer on the upgraded version.
Yeah, you got a roguelite mode and some behind the scenes lost content, which is still going to be awesome. Going to be awesome. Graphics. I've got it. I haven't actually started yet, so I can.
The character of Joel has been replaced by Pedro Pascal.
Shit, I can't wait to see what they do with the beginning of The Last of Us Part 2 in that second season.
Oh, it's going to be interesting. If people are going to be upset, I think clearly you haven't played the game. If you're going to get upset,
yeah,
you can't say read the book because there is no book. It's not a book, it's a game. And guess what? It's a lot shorter than a book. So play a game instead of read a book.
They're much better for you. They
They're
put
much
hairs on
better.
your chest and all that sort of stupid stuff. Anyway, Spire, who's going to pick them up?
For me, because they've done a lot of Star Wars. I just think Star Wars, Star Wars, Star Wars. I just think EA.
Yeah.
They can make another Star Wars game that's not the disaster of Battlefront, and they can make one just like Respawn. Let's make a Star Wars game that's not Skywalker based, and it could be
Could be
good.
right. I said Xbox. Just because I'd look
Oh.
and go, yeah, great. That's an opportunity to just like up-res all our old games. Like not to go and make a KOTOR remake or something like that, because clearly they're not up to that. But I could also see that as being possible. Maybe like PlayStation's unhappy because of their standards and all that sort of stuff. Xbox has none. So
As we're saying,
buy
and
up
it is very hit and miss at the moment. It's like
Yeah.
some things great, like Hi-Fi Rush won Best Audio at the Game Awards.
other games
Then
like
you got
Redfall.
And then you got Redfall, which was just an absolute shit show until that other game that came out last week. The one by Frantic, was it the one that
the day before,
the day before, and that was
and 4 days
an
after
absolute
was gone.
shit show of a. It's like, oh, by the way, it's like got 1 out of 10 by IGN. Then 4 days later, oh, we're closing. You just think, nothing sus here. Carry on.
Yeah. So yeah, I said Xbox just because it'd be a good opportunity, I think, for Xbox to touch up some of their old games and maybe use it as some sort of pitch to no, but okay, we'll stick with KOTOR. We'll give it the time and the effort, and we won't kind of crack the shits and move on if the game's not up to the standard we want, which may or may not be how PlayStation's going about it. But Xbox doesn't quite have the standards in the same way, so that might be the thing that unlocks the future of the game. Next up is Gearbox. Where do you want to go?
Well, it's one of those things you think, oh, it's the out of all the studios, it's a big one, but then I realise it's not a big one.
Probably the
just
biggest one of
Borderlands.
all of these that we've
Biggest
got
one, but there is Borderlands, a big one, and then the rest, which is, in all honesty,
Duke Nukem.
Not great. Alien, Duke Nukem, God Awful, Battleborn. Is it Battleborn?
Yeah,
The one
Battleborn.
that released the same day.
What's the Homeworld? Homeworld, because that's coming back.
Homeworld.
That's coming back. I think in like January or February they're launching that. I think Homeworld 3.
But for my
Got
choice
a Borderlands
of studio,
movie next year or the year after.
Oh.
Probably next
Oh
year.
yeah, I actually forgot it. I completely forgot about that until now because I just hadn't heard anything about it.
Homeworld
Didn't
3
see a
comes out
trailer.
February 2024.
Oh, another one in February. Great. Just another one.
Just another game we won't won't be playing.
But won't be playing because it's Gearbox. It's not Borderlands. Sorry.
Yeah.
We already know its fate already. But for studio wise, I went between two. It was either Microsoft Studios or Sony. But at the moment, that's
Which way did you go?
Sony's in it. Well, Sony at the moment, as of December 2023, it is an absolute shit show going on over there. It has absolutely imploded with the whole Bungie situation, the whole Jim Ryan's cookie farewell.
Yeah, that was
the
the straw that broke the camel's back over there. Jim Ryan got a special cookie made about him and a PS5 that looks like a PS1, and that's it. there.
PS1. And it was like also too, The Last of Us Part 2 multiplayer. No.
It's good. That's all.
But-
All the preview reports say it's good. So
So I decided, like, since Sony's in unheard of, never say this before in my life, in a bit of trouble at the moment, I'm going with Sony. No, not Sony, Microsoft.
oh, see, I went the other way. I went with PlayStation because I reckon they'd look at it and go,
Oh.
"This is a great opportunity to grab a team." And like, clearly with Jim leaving, live services is maybe not the priority that it once was. So we don't have to worry about like, let's just get them in the door, make sure they're working on a first-person shooter. It probably can't be Borderlands because Take-Two still owns Borderlands. Maybe we try and buy Borderlands, the IP off Take-Two, or license it off them or something.
Take-Two will probably just laugh and then just carry on with their day.
Well, they don't necessarily need it. They just, they put out GTA, and that'll keep every single studio in the family supported for the next 10 years. So, so it's possible. But yeah, I went PlayStation because I think their needs are more, so they might fight a bit harder. Whereas Xbox has obviously got shooters everywhere. They maybe don't need it quite as
That's
much.
fair. That is fair.
So I guess that takes us to Crystal Dynamics. We've got 2 to go. Crystal Dynamics and Eidos Montreal. 2 of the more recent and bigger acquisitions that Embracer made. And now there's trouble. So we need to save these 2 more than most, I think. But Crystal first.
Well, for some reason I said Square Enix, but then I realised
They're the ones that kicked him out.
they're the ones that kicked him out. So maybe they might welcome back. But maybe also, I'd say Xbox, because, they're doing a game called Perfect Dark, which we have seen nothing of since, I don't know, 2013. Not really. There's one trailer and that was it. We haven't seen nothing since except a name.
When was that? Perfect.
Oh, it was a long time ago. I feel like it was like 2018. That could be over-exaggerated.
Yeah.
Maybe 2019.
I reckon.
It felt like a long time ago. I think we've had 2 Olympics since then.
When Microsoft revealed its Perfect Dark reboot for Xbox during the Game Awards in December 2020.
Oh, it was only 3 years ago.
Yeah. It's still years away, though.
Oh. Still. We haven't seen nothing in 3 years except that trailer.
It's almost like they announced it too soon.
So it was that trailer we saw and a whole heap of jobs available at the initiative.
Yeah.
Many, many jobs.
Yeah, look, I'm 100% with you on Xbox being the right studio for them, but also they look at that and go, oh, great, like Tomb Raider. That means we can grab. I mean, that's the team. If we can get the Tomb Raider license while we're at it, then we've got You've got Uncharted, great, no worries, but we've got Tomb Raider. They can kind of have that battle. They feel like they're kind of squaring up with PlayStation a little bit in that space, so that might be an opportunity for them. And then anything else that Crystal can do on top of it's a bonus. We know Crystal was looking at doing I've forgotten the franchise. The other Legacy of Kain, because they put a little survey thing out a while back, looking for player interest and getting feedback as to what people were looking for from that franchise going forward. They would acquire that presumably as well. So, and they're just one of the most capable teams there. So, get them on it. Just don't make them do an Avengers style online game.
Speaking of Avengers,
go on.
I say this is the next studio.
Well, no. Avengers was Crystal Dynamics as well.
Square Enix. Oh, was it?
Yeah, that was Crystal Dynamics.
Oh,
that made it. Square Enix is the publisher. Crystal Dynamics made it, though.
Oh, right. For some reason I thought it was Eidos for some reason.
Yeah, Eidos did Guardians of the Galaxy.
That's okay. Now we're back on track.
But they've also, and I guess to set that stage for everyone, they've also done Deus Ex. They did Thief. They've got a whole bunch of stuff that they do. So who's going to go after them?
Well, my thought was, and I could have said Xbox.
I skipped a studio before, so we got one to cover.
I did see that one, unless I skipped it as well by accident. What's the other one? Do that one first.
No, that's all right. No, do Eidos, and then we'll come back to it.
Okay, Eidos. I went with Ubisoft.
I mean, the IP makes sense, and Ubisoft loves Montreal.
Yeah, and the fact is too that Ubisoft is doing Star Wars, so they're doing something with Disney. So maybe they might do something with Guardians of the Galaxy and make a second game, if Star Wars Outlaws is good.
Yeah, I'm sure it will be, actually. I'm really hopeful for that.
Of course.
See, for Eidos Montreal, so whilst Crystal Dynamics is picking up Xbox, I thought PlayStation would go for Eidos because that, like, especially because of Deus Ex in particular. If they can grab that, they go, great, we've got an iconic Western RPG here. Sucked in Xbox, you can't have it because obviously they've bought like everything else in recent years, from all the Bethesda stuff to they got
all right, they got Deathloop.
Oh yeah, but like
which then came
Deathloop
later.
2 won't be coming to PlayStation. Let's be sure about that. But obviously, like all the Bethesda stuff, they got Obsidian before even that. So you got your Outer Worlds, and you've got all those different things that they do. Like they are and that's on top of the stuff they already had. So you had Fable coming out of there and all those sorts of things. So they, outside of BioWare really, and I guess we can maybe add Larian to the mix these days with the success of Baldur's Gate 3. Oh, and CD Projekt actually. Otherwise, basically, Xbox has got the bulk of all the big acclaimed Western RPG studios, and PlayStation would look at that and go, "Geez, like if we want to have a crack, this is our chance to have a crack," and it gives us something that's you've got your very I guess, old school with touches of sci-fi with Horizon. Then you can kind of lean full sci-fi with Deus Ex, let alone the fact that you get Thief and you get a whole bunch of talent along with them. So for me, that was the choice there. But the studio we missed was Warhorse Studios, which is the
Oh
yeah,
yes.
we did kind of blink on them, but they did Kingdom Come Deliverance a few years ago, and that's again another big Western. Well, it was an indie game really. It was a Kickstarter thing. I actually kickstarted it too, but it was a
Oh,
big.
now I know why I did see Warhorse, because I'm pretty sure when I went to look at their games, the website was broken, so I couldn't tell
Oh,
what the hell was what.
jeez,
That doesn't
that's
help.
that's not a good sign. Kingdom
I
Come.
mean,
No, hang on. Warhorse.
but that might have been on my end, so I don't know what the hell happened.
I'm gonna go
It
check
wasn't
that
showing
because
any
that's a worry.
wasn't showing any pictures of the games. I can't tell by broken links what the hell is going on.
No, their site still works, but I've had to translate to English because they're a Czech team, if I remember.
Yes, they
Um,
are. They are a Czech team.
But yeah, they've only done one thing, and Kingdom Come Deliverance came out in 2018, so they're presumably
Oh
not
yes,
too far away.
yes,
But
the
it was a,
Kickstarter game. That's right.
yeah.
That one I had
And
no
then
idea.
there was some controversy around the game because it was set in. I want to make sure I get all my facts right here because I'm delving into kind of
Yes, because all those
controversial territory in a sec.
historians really listen to this podcast.
Medieval Kingdom of
Well, we don't want
Bohemia,
that.
so really old, centuries old Europe, and then there was
Centuries
a whole
old
lot
Europe.
of there was a whole lot of controversy because of the lack of black representation in the game, and the studio kind of pushed back. It was like, well, there wasn't there were black people didn't live we didn't that wasn't a thing. So we've gone historical accuracy was kind of and flipped off was more or less their response, and so they, there was certainly a section of the community that kind of cracked the shits at them as a result, rightly or wrongly. So there's a tinge of controversy to the team, but at the same time, one Western RPG wasn't fantasy based. It was all just straight up medieval and all that sort of thing, which is kind of novel to not have a very a medieval style thing and suddenly have to fight a dragon or something like that along the way. It was purely swords and shields and no sorcery. So anyway, where do you think they might land?
No idea, because it's only one game that I'm not familiar with, so I don't know what its style
That's fair.
of game it is. Because I knew it was a Kickstarter game to start off with. Then that's all I heard from it, because I knew at the start it wasn't getting the best of reviews at times, but I don't know if it's gone better.
Kind of got bombed a little bit, and it was definitely better on PC than it was on console. But
What's the surprise?
I thought PlayStation, for the similar sort of reason as my last one, that they wouldn't mind getting those Western RPGs in there, and they would be a very small investment. It'd be like some of the teams they've picked up in recent years, where it's not going to cost them a hell of a lot because they're a small team, they're in Europe, they don't have much of a reputation. It's not like you're ponying up millions or billions for your Insomniacs or Bungies, or even what you would have to pay for like an Eidos Montreal. This would be a very small investment, with potentially a lot of upside if they can get it all right. So yeah, that was kind of my thinking on that one. But there's no others. Are there any other teams though within the Embracer group that you wanted to cover in any way, shape, or form first?
No, I think all I say is best of luck. You're gonna need it. And why the hell would Embracer Group buy a whole heap of developers and then just, I don't know. I don't understand it. I thought the Swedish people were smarter than that.
Yeah,
Clearly not.
Isn't it the Swedes that came up with IKEA?
Yeah, but that's all
No,
flat
was that
packs. You do it
Switzerland?
yourself. That's a scam. No, that's Switzerland. No, I think it was Finland, the home of Nokia.
But the list is huge. Let's not lose sight of the fact that outside of video games, they own the rights to Middle Earth and Lord of the Rings and all that sort of stuff, because they were going to, what was their wording around it? Either way, they were going to basically cash in and take advantage of it. That was kind of their thing there. They own limited run games.
Butcher it.
Was
that?
Yeah, pretty much. They own limited run games. They own Dark Horse Comics, which is not a
But
small.
no, it's
not
not
a
DC
small
or
deal.
Marvel. It's Spawn. That's about it. And
Well, yeah,
maybe
I don't really
Hellboy.
know them much for their comic stuff at all. I actually know them more for like video game art books and that sort of thing. Like all of my Last of Us ones, Uncharted ones, a lot of PlayStation ones. I'm seeing my Bioshock Infinite one is published by them. The Zelda ones, those big
Isn't that Dark
Zelda
Horse?
books.
Yeah, I remember those big
Um,
bastards.
like there was 3 of them. Like that's all Dark Horse. Nintendo partnered with them for the Super Mario Brothers Encyclopedia as well. There's Mass Effect stuff that I can see, Witcher stuff. It just goes on forever. So they do a lot of that sort of thing. Apparently they cover Avatar, as in the Last Airbender. Like there's heaps of stuff that they do. And then there's just game developers for days. We didn't even touch on the fact that there's whole heap of like old franchises that destroy all humans, all those sorts of things that they own as well. They've bought up so much in recent years that not only is there going to be the fire sale on studios, but it's then I think the more interesting part will be a bit like what happened with THQ, where some of the studios didn't get sold, but the franchises did. Like for the South Park game, if we think about what happened with that, the team didn't get picked up, but Ubisoft bought it and continued on from there. So you've got stuff like that that's kind of a really fascinating extra layer, and all of this because they bought far too much. They tried to make a deal with the Saudi government. It fell through, and now they're out of money. Sucked in Embracer, but sorry to all the developers who are getting affected at the moment. It's horrible stuff. What's there been like 9,500 jobs lost this year?
It's been a lot.
Yeah.
Like every week, here's this developer team have cut jobs. Here's another team that's cut jobs.
Yeah, pretty much.
Bungie has cut shitloads of jobs. And
everyone that's under Saber Interactive is another whole arm that I didn't even think of, but that includes the 4A games that we spoke about before, 3D Realms, Aspire, and then like at least another 20 different studios. It's insane, the stuff that's going on there. The Swedes have butchered it. All right, well, on that note, I guess that very happy note, we'll wrap things up there. If you enjoyed this episode of Patch, please be sure to like, share, and subscribe. Visit the website, player2.net.au. We're on Patreon, patreon.com/player2. player2au. And finally, there's Twitter, Matto
_Phil.
Paul James Games for myself. The website is player2au, and not until next week. We've got a couple of weeks off for Christmas and New Year and all those sorts of things. I got the word from Matt Hewson. He's eyeing off returning the end of the first week of January. So I think Tuesday, January 9th would be when we're slated to first come back. Whether we can do it or not, we'll wait and see with our own respective scheduling. But that's the hopeful return date. It's when we should come back, but we'll cross that bridge later. Otherwise, Matto, it's been good doing another year. We'll do some updates early in January. We'll make stupid predictions. We've got the patchies and all of those sorts of things. We'll have to loop Damo in for those. Of course, they've got to be far more respectable. In fact, we give 100% more time to the awards than the Game Awards do.
And the same amount of awards, or even more awards than the Game Awards.
Yeah.
It's just no accepted speech.
We accept it on their behalf. Maybe that's what we need to add into the patches 2020 for 2023 for. Anyway, otherwise, everyone, thank you very much for coming on board with us for another year. And we'll see you after the break. Enjoy your break, everyone. See ya.